Hey little warriors, Anthe here. So I wanted to talk about a post that I did today. So I've been on TikTok and I have been creating videos on TikTok, and today I did a video about narcissistic mothers, which was essentially a video on the post that I did about narcissistic mothers. So I've invited some people to come and join our group, and I want them to watch this video so they can understand where to begin with this all. And I'm sure some of you in this group have also been raised by mothers who had strong narcissistic traits, and even fathers that potentially had strong narcissistic traits too. But with this specifically, I want to talk to the women, the little girls who were raised by narcissistic mothers. Often we don't realize we have been raised by a narcissistic mother or a mother with strong narcissistic qualities until much later in life, usually between the ages of, early 40s, late 50s, we begin becoming aware, hey Aligi, we begin becoming aware that potentially our mothers had narcissistic qualities. So what does that actually mean? Let's just quickly talk about someone who has strong narcissistic qualities. They can be really loving and nurturing and supportive and do everything for you, right? They can cook and clean and show up and buy you expensive gifts and do all these things. So someone with narcissistic qualities has this gentle, soft side to them, but then they also have this manipulative, secretive side to them that can be a little bit vindictive and a little bit harsh and controlling. Yeah. So often when they are playing out that manipulative side and they're being controlling and they're being not very nice to us, we are made to feel, if you've ever expressed that to a narcissistic mother, she'll make you feel as if you're over exaggerating. Yeah. She might say something like, oh, come on, what did I do? Or don't be ridiculous, or you are outrageous, that is not what happened. So these are the kind of things that a narcissistic mother can say to you. Now, that, as a child, even a young adult, even in your 40s, you can begin to question your own feelings if that's what you're being told, and if that's what you've been told your whole life. When somebody says that to you, be like, oh shit, did I make that up? Did that actually happen? Am I actually feeling like that? Or am I over exaggerating? Because they're so loving to me. They're so loving and they support me and they have taken care of me my whole life. Yet on this side, they're trying to control me. They're not allowing me to be who I am. They're not accepting. They're not supporting me to express myself authentically. Hey, Simon, which part do you want me to repeat exactly? Hey, Murray. So what happens is that we're then conflicted within ourselves. Yeah. And we have this ongoing battle for years and years and years. The battle between, but they're so lovely but yet they're so nasty to me. Right. And I'll come back to you, Simon. And so we have this internal battle going on, an internal battle, questioning how we feel because someone told us that what we were feeling was outrageous, or come on, So that bit, Simon. So a narcissistic mother might say something like, when you've expressed to her that perhaps she's hurt you, or something that she's done has made you feel like you don't belong, or that you feel rejected, or you don't feel accepted for who you really are, or you can't express yourself, she might say something like, oh, come on, what did I do? Don't be ridiculous. That's not what happened. So they twist the truth of what happened. They twist your words. They twist your expression to make you feel as if how you're feeling is wrong. How you're feeling is never wrong. But that's what someone who's manipulative can do to you, right? Now, I'm a big believer of we have to all take responsibility for our own emotions, our own actions, However, if you have been manipulated in this way from a very young age, as you become an adult, it's very difficult for you to differentiate between the program that you've grown up with, and then the difference between, okay, did I actually over exaggerate in this situation? Was that one of my wounds showing up? Or is this manipulation? Yeah, so am I getting, yes, it's gaslighting. Absolutely, that's what it is. It's gaslighting. Now, there's many layers to this subject, yeah? Sometimes we become aware of it and we're like, holy shit, I'm pretty sure that's what I said in that situation. I'm pretty sure that I just said to her that I don't feel that I can share with you how I feel. And they just attacked me. And in that split moment, your intuition's going, oi, this is not cool. It's not okay for them to speak to you like that. Say something, say something. You're like, no, just shut up, don't say anything, because maybe I'm making it up. So that's the little girl in you going, oh, here I'm not good enough again. I've done something else wrong again. So that's a wound. Yeah, so is everyone with me so far? Because I know I'm jumping to things. So is everyone with me so far? Just give me a love heart or something. So we have to get really good at recognizing what the programs are. So that's why I keep banging on about between the ages of 0 and 6, we create our belief systems. Yeah? Good, thanks, Simon. We create our belief systems, and they're created from the things we see adults do and the things we hear adults say, and then our own little interpretations of things. Now, if you're being loved and cooked for and cleaned for, and your mum buys you expensive things, yet she's controlling, she doesn't let you express who you are, you have to fit inside of her little box, she's conditioning you. She's conditioning you to behave the way she wants you to behave. And then when you step out of that box, you get attacked. But then you're made to feel as if it's all your fault. That's gaslighting. That's a form of manipulation. It's very intense, and it's very hard to recognize it as you get older, that's exactly what's happening. Of course, you're never going to be able to recognize that as a child. You're probably going to feel very unpleasant within you. You'll probably have bursts of anger and outrage. Like you'll get, you know, when you see kids that are 7 or 8 and they're having full-blown tantrums, like they're screaming and yelling, that's often because they do not feel heard. Yeah, they do not feel heard or accepted for who they are. And they get to a point, just like adults, they get to a boiling point where they snap. Yeah? Because they're not allowed to be full expressions of who they are. So it's not just the children. Yeah, there's something deeper going on. So what do? As we move through life, we often will attract partners with strong narcissistic qualities. Again, unconsciously, we fall in love because we become addicted to that sweetness that they have, that lovingness that they have. Yeah, and often if you're a man and you fall in love with, if you're a woman and you fall in love with a man who has strong narcissistic qualities, or even mild narcissistic qualities, it doesn't matter. Often you'll feel like he's rescued you from your mum. And so you'll be really grateful to him. You'll be like, yeah, but he saved me from her. Right? He saved me from her. So I better, there's an obligation now. That's okay if he spoke to me like that. So I'll let him get away with it because he actually saved me from her. So now you have an obligation. And you might try and express yourself in this relationship, in this marriage, and be met with the same rejection, defensiveness, harshness that you received from your mother, right? So now where are you left with? You're left with falling into the same pattern and conditioning that you had when you were growing up. So here's the thing. The thing is that if you grew up with that form of conditioning and programming, that's a part of your identity. Whether you are in pain or not, it's a part of your identity. Now, nobody wants to be in pain, but this is a part of our identity now, which means that we take it with us everywhere we go. And the thing about our ego is that our ego doesn't want our identity to be taken away from us. Because if parts of our identity are taken away from us, then what are we going to do? How are we going to know how to operate in this world? So we continue on. We continue on unconsciously living under these narcissistic conditions because it does make us feel comfortable. We're comfortable like that. We know how to be the victim in that situation. We know how to be the one who's suffering. Making a change is far more challenging than staying stuck in a relationship where you are being gaslit, yeah? And you're being manipulated and you're not allowed to express who you are. And you're being pulled in when they want something from you, love and affection, maybe sex, a baby, whatever it is they want, but then pushed away when you open up and you try and express who you are and how you feel. So often what women do when they get to 40s, often 50s, is they eventually realize they've had enough. There's nothing wrong with them. They actually they have a right to feel the way that they do, and they end up getting a divorce and leaving that person. So that's a bit of an explanation. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below. Yeah, so there's a few comments in here. Not allowed to be myself. That's what happens. The man goes for softer women who have empathy. Yeah. And people who have been raised by, women who've been raised by women who are strong narcissistic qualities, they're very empathic. They feel things so very deeply. It's almost like when you're innocent and you have a lot of love, like pure love around you, and your parents allow you to be who you are, they allow you to be full expressions of who you are to some degree, your spirits are high. You don't have to drop into those dark, heavy emotions of I'm not good enough, or they don't love me, or I have to change who I am. When you experience this kind of abuse and trauma, it sends you deep into your shadow, yeah, in a negative way. And so you feel things deeply. And so that's why when you meet somebody else who's in pain or going through something traumatic, you empathize with them because you went there. You have been there when you were 3 or 4 or 5. You feel it deeply because you've been to that deep place before, right? So moving on, what you can begin to do to heal your inner child. The first step, and I think this is by far the most important thing that I share with all my clients today, is you need to begin nurturing your emotional body. Often what happens when we leave an abusive relationship, whether it's with mother, father, husband, wife, we take on the role of the abuser and we begin abusing ourselves. Because again, that allows us to remain in that identity of feeling stuck. Yeah, being the victim. So you need to begin to change the things you think about yourself. You need to begin saying really nice things to yourself. Think about if there was a 2-year-old girl standing next to you. And I'm sorry if have you heard me say this before, but it's a really important part of this conversation. If there was a 2-year-old girl here and you spoke to that 2-year-old girl the way you speak to yourself, and you treated her the way you treat yourself, the shaming, the naming, the criticism, the judgment, how would that little girl be? Would she be happy and thriving and loving life? Or would she be an emotional wreck? Would she need to go see a psychiatrist because you've just been telling her how shit she is, how she can't do anything right, how ugly she is, how fat she is, how this she is, whatever it is? That stuff does so much damage to your emotional body that it prevents you from experiencing little bits of happiness in your day. So think of your emotional body for a second. If I pulled out your emotional body and I put her next to you, what would she look like? If your words created bruises every time you spoke them, if your thoughts created bruises every time you thought them, what would she look like? And if your friend showed up to your house looking like that, what would you do? You'd bring her in, you'd be like, oh my God, what the hell happened to you? Lie down. Let me start taking care of you. You're not going anywhere until you are fully healed, right? That's how you need to start treating yourself. You need to start treating yourself like you are the most important person in this universe, that everything that you say and do moving forward is critical, that you're going to be careful with everything you think and say about yourself, that you are no longer going to use attacking language. You're no longer going to call yourself judgmental things. And they're going to begin nurturing yourself with the love and sweetness and tenderness that you never got from your mother. Essentially, becoming your own mother. That's what you have to do. That's how you need to begin treating yourself. I would start there. The next step would be going into a guided meditation and beginning to reconnect to your little girl that's within you, your inner child, that sweet little girl that is waiting for you to love her, that is waiting for you to tell her that it's okay, that she didn't do anything wrong, that she was just raised by someone who had their own massive amounts of trauma. People with narcissistic qualities have massive amounts of trauma. They have deep, deep-seated pain that they're not willing to address. And unfortunately, because they don't address it, they take it out on their family, on their children, on their partners. So in the guided meditations, let me explain to you what happens. When we go into a guided meditation and we go back to the little boy or the little girl, we can't actually change what happened to them, but we can add a new timeline of support. Now, the mind doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. So we're going to trick the brain into believing that, yes, that still happened, but then someone came in and started supporting that younger part of us. And it's almost as if what we're doing is we go back. We begin connecting with their inner child. We begin telling them all the things that they never got to hear from their mother or their father or whoever it was. And as they begin to feel better, we begin to feel better. Because often what happens is we push our inner child away. And we're like, that was the past. I don't want to deal with that anymore. That is done with. Disconnect, stay away, goodbye. But it doesn't work like that. We have to bring them forward with us. We have to bring them into the present moment and continue to love and nurture them, because the love that we seek, that sweetness that we seek from men and women and parents and this person and that person, we're never going to get it from them. We have to start giving it to ourselves. The little girl in you is seeking it from you. The little boy in you is seeking it from you. And once you start doing that and you start filling up your own cup, that's when you can begin having healthy relationships with other people who can show you love and sweetness, because we teach people how to treat us. So when they meet you, if you're not loving and nurturing yourself, they're going to be like, oh, that's how she wants to be treated. Okay, cool. That's what we're going to do. But if people show up and you're empowering yourself and you're loving yourself and supporting yourself, and being sweet and tender, they're going to be like, oh, that's how I'm meant to treat her. Okay, cool. And I know that this can seem overwhelming if this is just the beginning of your personal development journey, or if this is just the beginning of you reconnecting to your inner child. I know that this can be overwhelming, but the beauty of this is once you begin this, there can be some confronting things that come up, but it doesn't take long before you begin feeling better. And you can begin feeling better really quickly. And I know some of the people that have been in here, Simon and a few other people, Amber, and I don't know who else is watching at the moment, they have done this work and they have begun feeling better, and they can see it is vital, it is critical. Everything that holds us back in adults is linked to some younger part of us, whether it's childhood, teen years, young adult. And when we heal that younger part of us, when we begin to free ourselves from the past through love and acceptance, self-love and acceptance, that's when we begin having this massive transformation. So I hope this video has helped. If you have any comments, please drop them below. If you're watching the replay of this and you have done the guided meditations, please comment below how the meditations have helped you, so that new people coming on here can read them and they can feel inspired by them. Because new people need a lot of love and support and someone to hold their hand and to say, you know what, it's going to be okay, you got this. And so that's why I created this group. So thank you for watching, sending you so much love. If you have any questions, please reach out, and I will see you guys on Thursday at 9 p.m. Melbourne, Australia time for a guided meditation. You're welcome, Simon. You're welcome, Murray. Hey, Ainsley. Bye, guys.